Boo, 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 boo. Infinite regression. Okay, you ready? Okay, here we go. Okay, so what did we end off last time? We ended off about the if statement. So let's put on the back end. Okay. Okay, so here we go.
Why the edge is not like good quality?
Okay, so here we go. Here we ended off with the if statement. Okay.
Okay. That's pretty bad.
So we did over here that this is an or, and this is R. Okay, I'll put it over here in comments. Okay. The two pipes is or. Okay. This is and. Okay. So we had over here, if num equals 10, or the name, which is over here, equals Laz, then put yeah or no. Okay. So let's see if that runs.
What are you doing? Don't you have to compile it first? Yeah.
Compile that, yeah. Okay, so you see it's yeah. So even though num does not equal 10, but since it's an or, it'll still say yeah.
Or Ronnie's school. Yeah.
Okay, let's try an and instead. Let's see what happens.
No hell.
Okay, compile it. Compiled. Run it. There you go, it's no. Okay? So see if I clearly there the difference.
Do you mind going over the for statement?
For statement. For loop.
For loop, yeah.
Okay, so let's comment this one out then. Let's go back up there.
I mean, you can do it. You can do the credit for that.
It's always easier to do it while you're looking at it.
Oh.
Okay, so here's the statement. Okay, so we have to. So we're saying over here, int y equals 0. Okay, then only continue this loop if this condition is true. Then for each loop, do this.
Okay, so how do we know why?
You're making it right now.
Yeah, y equals 0. Okay.
You're creating it over here.
Oh, I see. I was just going
Y
over there.
is smaller than 10, continue doing y plus plus.
Okay, so that's right. Let's see what happens.
Int y equals 0. So if y is less than 10, then what? Then continue y equals y plus 1?
Yeah.
Because that's then what's the, so it's basically like a while statement, just done different.
It's a while statement, and the reason why, I mean, you'll see later on why you use this. I mean, in general, for while loops are easier, right? But you'll see that sometimes for loops are the only way to go. Okay, because sometimes you don't really know, for example, you can be looping it, and you don't really know what when it's going to end. So sometimes you lose that. Then you know exactly how much there is already, so you can easily put it in a while statement. You'll see later on, when to use it. Right now,
But when do you find a difference?
You'll see. You'll see there'll be differences of when.
But we'll learn later.
Yeah. You'll see an example like when we'll need to increment it and play around with the increment. By the top one, you don't have as much flexibility.
Right.
Okay. But in general, I mean, it's really if you think about it, it's almost the same thing. Over here, this is going over here, this is going over here, right? This part's over here, this part's over here, right? It's really almost the same exact thing.
Just written differently.
Yeah.
By the system out printed and after.
Yeah. So it really, I mean, we'll see later on, but like when's a better time to use it. But in general, anyway, right now, it's fine. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's make it a little more. Let's see. Did you guys get to?
Finish chapter 1.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Cool. You got through all the exercises?
No, I didn't do exercise. I got to check 1.
Okay, so that's the next part you gotta do.
I'll do the exercise, but I would think we.
You gotta do that.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Do your exercise.
Okay, so what's the difference?
What?
Okay, so let's do just a quick thing of wording. Okay, so look over here. Okay. You guys ready? So here's int x equals 3. Let's do the statements. Okay.
Why did you not do that?
Look right now. What does this say over here? The int x. What does that mean?
It means the integer is x. That's it. We don't know
You're declaring integer x.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So what is x as of now?
Nothing.
It's just x.
No.
It's an integer.
You can do it like that also.
Okay.
X is given the value 0.
No.
It's given value 0. That's true. But it's true. So but right now, what's this called?
Zero.
What's this stage called?
Stage 1.
So this is called declaring a value. Declaring a variable.
Right.
And you
Okay.
turn that up then, no?
Okay. This is called declaring. Okay.
I did that exercise.
Okay. So now if we want to assign something to it, you can go like this. X. Now which one to use? This one or this one?
1.
Okay. This one. What does that mean?
That
That's
means that
Equal,
we're like
it has the equivalent of x.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So let's do that. X equals. Let's do 5. Okay. At this point, what's the stage called?
And that's explaining the variable. It says the value of that variable.
All right. So what's the exact wording?
It is the value.
Okay.
You're giving it a value, assigning a value there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, so remember that the key points. Over here, you're just declaring it, and over here, you're assigning it. Now, if you want, you can do it in one stage. Right. If I were to go like that, you're declaring and assigning in one stage. Which is why, look at how this is written. You see over here, int y equals 0, you see that you're declaring it and you're assigning it in one stage. Okay? Okay. Let's now go to, let's just point out one other thing. Watch. If I go now, if I go like this, see over here there's also, we have a string, right? Make a string. What happens if I go like this? Here's a string, and I, let's call it, first name, F name, and let's call it, the
String name and then
first digit of license plate. Therefore, if you see what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so here the first digit of license plate. It's if the first digit is 1, right?
Yeah.
Remember, 1 over here can be C or D. So it's not a number, right? So what happens?
You're declaring the string. You're declaring it as
Right. So what happens now if I go like this? X. Oops. X equals this. What happens?
Then does it convert it?
He's gonna put in X by 1.
Like I said, once you use it in a loop or use it in anything, you can use x instead of first digit.
The question is,
So what's going to happen?
it means that it's
Oh, it's not gonna convert it.
Why not just a 1?
But
it doesn't matter because it's a string.
no, it's because he knows to
It's
convert
right.
it. He knows to convert it.
Okay, so watch what happens. Ready? Let's count this out for a second.
Maybe 0.
Let's see what happens. This is going to explain something very important about Java.
Also, he
I'm assuming it's going to convert it
So
based on
watch.
the way Java works.
There you go. Ready? Watch what it says. The compiler's running it, and see what it says? Incompatible types.
Yes, so it's not.
So you're saying really in a class, it's really got to be right.
Okay, so this is what they call type safety. Okay? Won't work. Type safety. Okay, now this is unlike other languages. For example, many languages won't be type safe. In Python, you can do it. You can put anything in it as long as it works. It works. Java would rather be safe than sorry. Okay, now this I can give it a diagram if you want to see the easy way how it looks. So imagine you have over here. Imagine over here we have x. Okay, which is an integer, right? So imagine the integer bucket looks like. Imagine the bucket looks like this. Mendel would know what I'm talking about because he went to the book a little bit. Okay, and imagine the string bucket
It's not
looks like this. It's a totally different bucket, right? It holds different things. So basically, what Java says, this bucket, which is a variable, right? We're declaring it. We haven't assigned it yet. You can only put in strings. This is an integer bucket. You can only put integers in there. To get used to that, you're going to have a lot of issues if you don't understand the idea of type safety. In SQL is not like that. SQL you very easily can use, 1 in quotes plus 1, and it'll figure it out for you. But Java is type safe. It will not let you. If you want to switch it, you're going to have to cast it. You have to convert it. Okay. So let's go over here. So this the compiler caught, right?
Yeah.
Which means. Right, which is very good. You can't even do this. It won't let you do this. Your program won't compile. Okay. Okay. Let's do now. If you look at, for example, let's run.
So what are you going to do in a situation where you both, where there actually is an integer 1? And there are 2 separate statements. How would you?
Well, first of all, number one, first of all, usually if you have to convert something, something's wrong in the system. Something is not.
No, you don't have to convert it in that. I'm saying if you're writing actually, okay, this is the first integer.
Why would you ever need?
Plate.
Why would the first integer license plate ever have to be anything but a string? And why are you trying to put it into an integer bucket? Java is trying to help you think straight. Yes, you want to convert it. We'll let you do it. You can convert it. We'll see soon how you can cast a string into an integer. But in general, don't think that way. Think that a license plate you're never going to use as a number. You're never like summing it up and doing plus license plates. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so let's go to one example over here.
But see,
Yeah.
I don't think you understand my question. If I were to write integer x, okay, and
Right.
then I write
Index, right?
index, sorry, string per digit, then I write. So let's say I'm trying to say I want the first, the second, 20-second license plate piece. We have like 100 pieces. I want the 26th one. And then with the number 26, and then in the actual first digit, in the actual digit things, I'll say 26 as well.
I lost
Would
it.
I have to use?
You just trying to return what the digit is in the license plate?
No.
Because it could be a C or an X.
Right, what I'm saying is, I want the 20th license plate. Let's say there's 20 license plates.
Right.
How would I write them? I write 2 separate modes, 2 separate statements.
So we'll see later. We'll have a thing called. Look, next one we'll have it. We'll make a list of strings that hold a whole bunch of strings. Laz, John, Mary, whole list of them.
Right.
And you can
okay,
pick
right.
which one you want. Okay. So let's go. For example, let's open up.
And that was at the end of it.
What? You did all the chapter by yourself?
I got a first chapter.
Here, ready?
That's funny.
Let's look over here. Let's open the beer song for a second. Take a look.
I'll do their song.
Right. 16.
Okay.
17, you can't sing those songs.
Okay. Does this have a good example? It does not. Let's look at one that has an example. Here, this one. You guys did this one yet or no?
Yep.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's run this and see how it runs.
Wow, it's really cool.
Right, dot means go back. Change directory. So we want to type text array that we're actually in a live Google thing. You can actually be on there if you want to watch it.
What do you want? I don't understand.
He lives in Muncie now.
Huh?
He lives in Muncie.
You live in Muncie?
Yeah.
You moved to Muncie? No way.
Yup.
Why? Muncie is like really religious people then.
He's a religious man.
Find a good job or just move?
I think he's moved there. Okay, so ready guys? Let's run it. Okay? So let's compile it. You know it's probably there already, it is.
Muncie.
It compiles fine. Now let's go ahead and run it. Okay. Oh, we have to import some stuff now. So let's before you go into this thing, let's look at this code.
Why are you
You should-
important?
What? You see over here?
I did it and you didn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know about it right now. I'm not gonna. We have to import stuff. I'm not gonna do this right now. You see over here though, this will convert something. So let's go over here for a second. Let's go back to our example, and let's go to where's that? Okay. Okay, so you can actually just go like this.
Really?
Yeah. There we go. Ready?
And then he's gonna put in?
Which one we use it?
I'm going back down to the other
Dot, dot,
folder.
slash, dot, dot.
That means going back 2 folders. Tab, chapter 1, yes. Okay, we're there. Okay, so let's see what's in there. There we go. Let's compile that again.
You'll be able to develop like an app in Java.
Okay.
You can develop an app in Java.
Basic ones. I had to do some stuff at work for Android stuff. So I do the part where it interfaces with the database. Okay, but we'll make GUI stuff too. But that's more Android. We'll have to once you know Java, then you'll learn the Android libraries, how to mix it in with that. But that's not learning Java. That's ready once you have it down. It's a piece of cake. Okay.
Everything we're learning over here today. Okay.
Okay, so we're not going to do the convert now because there's actually the library in. But what I want to get across over here is the idea over here that you cannot just easily exchange variables that are different types. You have to be very careful. It won't let you do that. Okay? Okay, let's go now to...
I think we're gonna learn about the convert in the future.
One time?
They're gonna teach us about
Yeah, there's convert. But the point you have to understand that you always have to. You can't just think, oh, it'll understand what I'm doing. Okay? Okay, so let's go here. And let's take a look at the beer song for a second. Let's take a look.
it was with it's helpful, not with
See something? Okay, so you guys got the if down, all no problem? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, now one cool thing you should do, it's not in this book really, but it's very good to do because it'll help you out when you're looking at your code. First of all, the indentation. But even more important, you see over here, this goes to the if statement.
We made indentation.
Then you don't have, this all can be inside. I can, if I want to go like this,
how it should be.
I can go like this.
How do you get your thing to do that?
You have to, I mean, later on we'll use IDEs where we'll do a lot of it for you.
How do you do the lines?
What lines?
On your computer that has lines?
Well, you get the lines also everywhere, stuff like.
I don't get it.
Lines?
See, it says public to the bottom and public to the bottom and
I get it.
Clear this mark that you did. Clear it. You see those 3 lines?
Yeah, you should get that.
Yeah, you should. And clear this one as well.
If not, no.
oh, now I see it. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so you see over here how this one lights up, right? So you know it goes to there.
Yeah.
But it's very good to just comment it out so you can very clear. So over here, this should be the end of the class, right? It's going to help you so much. Oops. Okay.
Oh,
End class over here.
And
Where does that end up?
Later.
This goes all the way to right there, right? So this,
The end of main method.
okay, so let's do that. Okay, what does this one go to?
The while.
Okay,
And
so
the while loop.
oops. Okay, this will help you so much when you're trying to debug something. You know, okay, if I want to comment something out, this one is going on to that loop. You can have 100 of these things, right? And this one obviously goes to the if statement.
No.
Okay, let's run this and see if it runs.
That's gonna show you all of them.
Let's see the beer sound here. I don't know if this one is actually going to run. And it does.
Come on.
I just changed that thing yesterday, so we have to just ignore this for now because I just changed it. Shouldn't have done that change. I brought in some more libraries. I have to.
Maybe save it in your file.
No. I just import in the import.
Go up. You have package chef 1. What is it?
Yeah, no,
It's
but that's what I'm saying. I'm missing my import statements. Give me a second. Where did I put those things? I must have lost input. Let's just try. Give me a second. No, this is yes there.
0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
Yeah, I have to find where I put that. In a second.
Did you save? Did you save it?
Yeah.
But now it's
Okay. I'll bring other things later. Okay, so here we go. So we got this whole thing, right? You guys did this one already, right? No. Do we need to go through it at all or no?
I didn't.
You understand the whole thing? Anything's clear?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so let's
I got it. I don't know. No, I got it.
Yeah?
I don't know what I was.
Okay, let's see anything in here that will throw you off. No, this is pretty straightforward. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next one then. For the you did the phrase one? The generates a phrase?
Phrasomatic.
Yeah?
I actually used the Phrasomatic and I used
What is
an
Phrasomatic?
extension and sending generator actually.
Okay, cool.
What is the prismatic? What page is it?
That's
That's one of the billion
page
different things.
16. Cool, so Mendy already played around with it. That's good.
What?
I didn't even do the original thing at all.
Cool, so you just made your own thing.
Yeah. I kind of guessed how it is already. And, yeah.
So you write go 5 you Yeah.
Where do you find those people, really?
Tanya.
Regab, so VC.
So yeah, you put the first
You're
one
now-
name,
you're
the
now-
second
Okay,
one,
so here-
the second one, you can put the first one
We're on
name,
YouTube, right?
the
Regab,
second one you can
Leslie.
put last name, and the third
Illegal
No, I
immigrants.
just, no, I just
Man
went
in
to-
America.
I took off the third one, right, and then I had two
Evading
basically,
the
which was
cops.
a bunch of
just two, just three.
one of first names and the second one of last names. Just
And I
pick
put the
first
third
name
one
and
is
pick the
if
last
it's a man or woman or it's.
name. What?
Did you see that? I don't know if you know what is Aerovision. It's like a main.
Aerovision?
Okay, so guys, look over this one. And we got this one too? Yes or no?
I get it now, yeah.
Oh, you guys,
I'll do it tonight.
let's look through some of this to see if you got it.
It's pretty simple.
Okay, what's this over here mean?
String. Sorry, it's a, what's the word again? What's the word?
What?
What's this over here?
This is declaring a string character.
Pairing a string, there you go.
Nope.
But,
No?
but,
This is a string word list 1. Okay, I'm gonna tell you.
String wordless on would be this.
you're just
Without
declaring,
this.
you're declaring wordless one.
You're declaring that
Wordless
you're declaring
one.
string.
Okay, what is this?
Yeah, what is those?
What is this?
I'm gonna tell you. The bracket means like in
I
this
remember.
string it has the name that you choose.
It's what?
What?
What's the difference between this and this?
This is a good question.
It means the following. It means the
Can you explain
what does it say over here?
it?
I'm looking at the chapter. It says,
I'm gonna tell you this.
here it's the string. Declaring and creating an array is easy.
Okay, there you go. That's the key word.
An array?
Yes. An array. What's the difference in an array and not an array? Array just holds many.
Yeah.
So if you notice over here, how many are in this one?
Many.
How many you got?
Well, if you write, just do the one length world list. What do we call it?
Right. So you see over here, this gets how many is in there. You cannot. If
Operator.
I were to go like this would fail because you can only add one string. Over here, it lets you add as many as you want.
You're garbage.
I should sound this remember. I have to get another one. They put it in the bathroom. Okay, got one. Okay. Okay, so this is how you define a list of something. This this is very important. Any type you have, right? What are types? Types are like integers, strings, and later on we'll learn objects. But any type you're using, you can always make a list of it, right? So for example, if I want the list of integers, I can go int like that, and the same thing. Let's call it,
I put a bunch of numbers and this.
right? I can call it list
They're
of
all
comma.
just different sizes, really. You have integer, you have string, you have
Right. So
bytes,
if we go over here,
Well, no, you want to add them later.
so if we go over here, let's make a new one over here.
Oh, really?
Okay, so right, if you go like this, and we have int x, right? It'll create one bucket, right?
Mhm.
That's all you have. If you do int and do those things, it's letting you have multiple buckets to put integers in. You can only use integers if you have
So
multiple
you
buckets,
can put how many numbers that you want. Many numbers.
as many as you want. Okay. Now we'll see later on. It's not so simple. I'm saying right now because actually we're gonna learn later on about the heap, and how it works in memory. Because we'll see later on that how things are stored in memory is very important.
Maybe
What
like
about
indexes?
this one?
What?
You similar to indexes?
No, very different. You have to remember that indexes. The reason why this is very different than database programming, this aspect, database programming, a lot of it is stored on your hard disk, right? That's what database is for.
that's the
Is
cloud.
persistent data. You're trying to keep data there even when the machine goes down, or when the guy goes out of his bank account, right? When does a program run? It's running in memory. That's when programs run. They don't run when you're not there. They run when you are there. So while you're running programs, memory is you can be very careful. We'll learn later on, maybe a couple chapters, about different parts of memory. There's one called the heap, one called the stack. And we'll see how this works. When you make a list, it works a little different. But just for simply, when you make this thing, it gives you as many buckets as you want, right? You can have as many buckets to fill, only with integers, but as many. So if you have string, just like that, it give you one bucket. You have string with this, it'll give you as many buckets as you want. You can fill it up as much as you want.
The least.
Yeah, it's a list. Array is just a fancy word for list. So that's why I don't like those words as array. Just call it a list.
Yeah, I know. Why did?
It's stupidity. Okay, that's good. Now what does this do?
Which one? It's count the number of the words in this list. Yeah.
Values.
Give
Number
it
of
the
items in each array.
Yeah.
Number of values.
Yeah, same
Item.
thing. Yeah. Yeah, same thing. I mean, yeah. So the point is how many is in there will tell you how much is in there. Okay, now over here, what's going on in this line?
Give you a random number. It's choosing a random number from this bucket,
Random item, yeah.
from this list.
In time?
It picks out a random item from each list.
Okay, so why is it doing this times thing? What's the point of that?
Math random. That's just
Because it's one
One
line.
thing I met random.
Because it's talking about the first group, the second group, and the third group.
Yeah.
Still, why do you have to do that?
you have to declare each
Yeah,
thing.
group.
Each group.
Remember, we have over here, let's walk through this. At this point, we have buckets. So we have this thing that has all these inside. Then we create we figure out how long they are.
Right.
Right now, I have no idea what that is. So, if you read through out some code, you go, okay, I'm not sure what the point, why is he making the length
Well,
here?
now we're timesing the one. What if we didn't do that?
I'm saying, I'm asking, why if you don't do that? What's the issue? Why do you need that?
Oh, you're saying if I
Maybe
want
it's
to find
the
a random,
way-
I have to do the first part? I have
Okay.
to talk about the length if I want to do random? I have to do int one length, int two length.
No, I'm asking you why you need that. I mean, I can take this out, and seemingly it should work. Why?
No, because you're mixing integers with string.
No. This is really why you have to, when these exercises, you have to spend a lot of
I
time.
get numbers. I get the second part. I just don't get why you need the first part. Why you need one length, two length, three length.
So over here, let's put a comment here as of now. This is this is a realistic thing. When you go through someone else's code, put a comment. I have no flipping idea what this is for. Okay.
Unless
yeah.
this is creating a new bucket saying, oh,
Right,
I
'cause
see,
what's the point of the program? The point of the program is to make these phrases random phrases, right? I run it once, I get what we need is a multi-tier shared mission. Oops. What we need is a 30,000-foot branded division, right? All this, that's all we need. So what's the point of this? How does this add anything to the program?
Well, this is the I think this is doing is this is creating a number box now. So the way Java would work is Java wants to work in a mathematical way. So if you're going into integer one length, so now what you're doing is everything in that thing is going to create another bucket. That little bucket is going to be numbers. Now out of those numbers, you can do random numbers, but it can't do random words. What? It can't tap the words itself. It's got to put it in a bucket.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but that's not.
You're using your bucket there.
Watch. If you go to this phrase over here, this over here, what is this? What is this?
Take a random number from one left.
Time?
Take a random number
From the
one left.
No, watch this.
No, from 12.
Okay, what we're gonna do, we're gonna debug so you can see what this is for.
It says a random number from 12.
Time?
It's going to end up being a random number from 12.
12.
Because one length is 12. The first length is 12.
Okay, so let me show you the reason why this isn't short. But let's debug so you can see. This is how you're gonna learn how to do code, because many times there's tons of libraries. You're not gonna know how they work. Say you work at a company, they go, okay, you're building a system. Guess what? We're halfway through it. You got to continue where we started off. This happens. Most jobs you'll take, you won't be starting from scratch. There's at least some work done. Sometimes a lot, sometimes a little. So you have to start with some of those codes. You have to look what this means. Well, the way to do it, let's go like this. This is what we're printing out. Let's add another printout. Okay? Just to see what is getting printed out over here. Okay? So let's go over here for a second. And let's print out this rand1.
Put it under.
Yeah, I'm going to put it under. Let's call it rand1. Okay? Equals that, and let's put it right over here. Okay, and being that that's the case, I'm going to comment this out for now. Okay? I just want to debug to see what's going on over there. Okay? So right now, we're the last two outputs we're not touching. We're commenting out, and we're seeing. Who?
Delete the int. Down.
These two? I'll leave it there for now.
No.
What? Oh, this thing. Yeah. Sure you want your mom in there?
My mom was not there.
Okay, so let's see what this rand1 is. It's some type of integer. It's this math random times one length. Okay? You know, let's make it even easier. And even more comprehensive. Let's also go like this and see what one length is. Okay? Oops, wrong song. Okay? So see what happens? This is 12, and this is 0.
So 0, why 0?
This is where we're getting into the reason why they do this. Let's see over here. Give me a second. Okay, so see what's happening over here. Watch this. If I take away this over here, let's take away this times. Okay, let's comment this line out. Okay. You guys still with me or not?
I don't get why can't you just do this whole other thing, right? String and put it in.
Do what?
Do the whole thing, right? String rand1 equals int equals string math dot random. Put it int.
Int is converting it to an integer.
Why are you converting it?
Because later on, over here, this is how you get from this bucket. You want to pull out a random one. Okay, so let's run over here.
You're saying random wouldn't work with string.
Let's convert, but later on you can't use it to get it out of the bucket. Okay, so look what happens now. Check this out. If you notice, this is 1, right? Right now we're just making rand1 equal a math random number, right? What happens? Look at it. Let's run it a couple of times. It's always going to equal something, some weird number below 0. You see that? Watch. Let's not even make this a second. Let me just see something. Watch this. Okay, what I don't want to do is rush to the book if you guys are not really digesting everything. These are very important stuff that if you don't get it now, It's not gonna. It's gonna be painful. Yes. Okay. Do you see what's happening now? Look over here.
So it just basically calls a random number and then multiplies it by another random number or by 12?
By 12. So this is why you doing it by 12. Look at this.
There's like 12 items in the. You already did the thing to go integer 1 length.
But why is multiplied? Why is not choose the number and that's it?
Look, if I go over here, so just wait, it's doing it. Notice, right now, top on 0. What are you starting to notice about this random number that math returns?
Oh, the decimal?
So try to notice something more important than that. What's more important about this random number?
That's going above 1.
There we go. Okay, there we got the key.
Why?
That's how Java made that work.
Ah, yeah, from 0 to 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what's happening. You notice over here, they changed the code that we're just testing out to see what this returns. We're printing out what is math.random return. Math.random returns decimal, and it's always below than 0, right? Right?
Wait, math what?
Math.random returns a decimal, but it's always less than 1. It's between 0 and 1. That's what it always does. Now, if I were to convert it to integer, what will it convert to? Right? Integer doesn't have decimal points.
Yeah.
So I take 0 point. All these, if I convert this to an integer, what will it be? 0. So it won't be random. It'll always be 0.
So
I can't convert
integer?
because later on we want to get out of here one of the lists.
Yeah.
So we convert this to an integer and get that out of here. 0 is position 1, right?
Yes.
So if we're trying to get a random position, we can't just take this and then pull that position out because it will always be the first one.
Okay.
Still with me, guys?
Just
Just them in English.
Watch. I'm gonna go back to here, which
I
is
get what you're saying, but
I'm gonna go back to the original code so you can look at the original code and you can see what happens when I change it. Watch this. And let me open up another command line actually. Make this easier.
So
you're saying it will not be random as long as you put it.
Okay.
As long as it's not an integer.
Second, watch. Look at this. Okay, so let's comment this out. Okay, I think I have to make this into a diagram. So you guys can copy it. Okay, so here, this is Control C gives you a new line, by the way.
this is the thing, you need to think about it.
That's what I'm saying. Don't take this book quickly. You gotta run. When you go through it, one of these exercises, take it line by line. Otherwise, you're not gonna copy. Okay, so look over here. Right, this critical path targeted process. Let's look in the list over here and see what that is. Where's that first one? Critical path is by the end. Targeted is, somewhere over here, right? Where is that?
Yeah, the top, left, down, right, a little bit.
Over here. Okay, so these are random. Let's run it again. Random. And you're pervasive, right? Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, we see it's random. Watch this. If I take out this part, look what happens. It won't be random anymore. Okay, I want to keep this. Let's.
I'm kidding, it won't be random. Take out the other.
Why would this be random? Look, come here.
Of
Why?
course, it's not going to be random.
Why not? Why of course?
Because it has to be based on the 1 length and 2 length and the 3 length. It has to be based on those. She's using math now.
Why? This is returning a random number. Why shouldn't that be enough?
Because you have to deal with how you deal with math, though.
Even math. Why shouldn't this be enough? If this is a random number.
Because when you pick the random number,
I think I'm lost.
but you need to declare how much length there is. It multiplies with.
Why is it
just
enough?
Because it doesn't show
Choose 0,
I need
no?
0 in order for it to go somewhere.
So then it would just keep going 24/7 in power.
Right. Okay. So you got the answer. Okay. So at least we're not. Okay.
That we got already. But
Okay.
I'm saying I still don't get why you need any of that to begin with. Why can't you just do random string?
But first, let's go here. Let's run this so you can see what happens.
Oh, I got you. Because
Look what happens now.
It starts from 0, so if it's gonna do only 0, it's gonna put only the first word.
Here we go. So watch. Look what happens. Look what happens. Look what happens. Right, 27 in parallel process. 27 in parallel process. 27 parallel process. 27 parallel process. It's not random anymore. Even though this is random. Why? Because 0.999 equals 0 by an integer. 0.76 equals an integer. 0.1 equals a 0 integer. So you have to times it by this number to get something out of there. Now, let me ask a different question. Why can't I just go like this? Times it by, say, 5.
You're still gonna get the same. You're still gonna get the same one.
No, why should I get the same
0
one?
times 5 is 0.
One more time?
0 times.
It's not 0. Remember, it's 0.999, whatever it is. It has.
Right, but that times 5 is still gonna be a negative. You can't-
Why? No, that's the same thing as this.
So it's equivalent to 0.
No. What's wrong with this?
0 times 5 equals 0. No.
It's not 0. It's 0.999. Remember, it's not 0.
Random is between
But you're
0
still
and 1.
okay. So
Look.
you may get off.
Look over here.
But that'll be
Look at the screen.
5.2. There's nothing as 5.2.
It converts to the integer, then makes it 5.
So because you need to have it with the same number of words.
Based on what we said earlier.
You know?
This should work. Let's look. Let's run it.
It's not the same word, like 5. What is in 5? 5 in.
Okay, let's run it. Watch. Let's see. Let's run it over here. Let's compile it. Let's run it.
It's going to get the same. Always.
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, we need it to 30.
Doesn't look the same to me.
Do it again.
It only goes basically to the fifth option of each
Doesn't
one.
look the same. What?
It only goes up
And
to
it's
the
not
fifth
random.
option of each one.
Oh, and you go to the 5th option, you said?
Yeah.
Let me think about that.
It doesn't pick random either.
It goes up to. Let me see, think of that. It goes up to 5.
Yeah. 5 words in each string. In each array, basically.
Okay, it can go to 5. Okay, so you got the answer. The answer is that it's random, but you're not getting the most out of it.
Okay.
And now you're getting the most out of it. It could be dangerous. Why? Because what happens if there isn't 5 in here?
Well, so you need to have it.
So what if it is
3 in there.
15? It could error out because it'll try to find something that's there that's not even there.
That's what you do.
Right? That's why they use this. In other words, they're giving this list that it's safe. It pulls random out of all the list, and it will never go beyond it. If I do now 15, it might work 1 or twice, and it can fail because it can try to find something that's beyond. There's nothing even there. I want the 50th list. Well, I don't have 50. I only have 13 in there, whatever it is. Watch. Let's do this. Let's make it 99 and see what happens. Okay. Save it. Compile it. Okay. Now don't do this lesson stupid. There's a lot of stuff you have to really copy this lesson. Okay. You see what just happened? You see what just happened? Out of bounds exception. It wanted to go to 71. That was the random number it chose. But it's out of bounds. There is no 71 over here. We only have 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, 14, 13, 12 of them. Okay? Now, so now you understand exactly why this was done. You need this to get a random number. You need this to make it past 0. And you need to use this so you can get the full maximum randomness. All the way to the end, all the way to the beginning, and not too high that you go out of bounds. Okay? This is why programming is not exactly easy. You have to think about all these things. You want it to be random. It has to be past 1 to actually be random to get out of your list. And you don't want it to be too high or too low, so you got to use it based on the length of how many you have in there. That is why that code was written that way. One more thing to notice now. This error I got now is not the compiler couldn't catch. Right? Look what happened. I compiled this, it compiled fine, yet it errored out. What's going on here?
Because for the compiler, everything is okay.
Here we go. This is called the what kind of error? So what kind of error is this called?
Bounds exception. Out of bounds exception.
Yeah, but all these things that the compiler doesn't catch and the errors out are called runtime errors. In other words, you only can see them by runtime, and these are very dangerous errors. Why? Because your compiler doesn't catch them. So you could be running fine, and then a year down the line, boom, your whole program can explode because you never really had that runtime error occur. Which is why you have sometimes, you go to, I remember I was on the airplane one time, and I pressed, the on thing for the screen, and suddenly this weird error popped up. And it was so cool because I was a programmer. It was like black and white screens, like, Java exception, and just scrolling. And obviously that was something that they didn't plan for, but there was some one-time error that they didn't test enough. which you'll learn later on, which is why we need a thing called unit testing. Unit testing is you make scripts that'll test your scripts.
You know what QA does?
QA will it tests it also, but you as a programmer need to write scripts that test your own scripts. So say you make a script that does this, but there's input where a person can choose a number between 1 or 5, whatever it is. That you make a script that throws in many different numbers to make sure your program works. Okay, unit testing. I mean that's what separates beginners from professionals.
So we can do that?
No, you'll learn how to do this book teaches unit testing
I
too.
hope you are. So can you go back to my question earlier?
Okay, so what's your question?
Why can't I just skip this whole thing and just do it straight? Do the same exact thing, but do untitled map that random and do string random one.
So there is no string. That's why. You can, as a programmer can create one if you want.
So bypass all of that.
Yeah. If you created one, which you could. That's you could. If you want to, you actually could do that. As of now, in this book, that's how when you work for a company, if you find that you're using something very often, they make it. But if you're not using that often, it's just worth it to use what's there.
You're probably gonna end up using that often, no?
The idea of making a random thing, I really almost never have to use. When do you have to have really randomness? For security companies, they need that for creating special IDs, for your passwords. But
Right there, passwords.
right. So that's your company does that, and you'll need to work on this idea of random calculations. But in most programming positions you almost never have to use the idea of random. It's not a really common thing. Okay, so we went through that. So we got let's clear this up again to see what it's supposed to look like.
Is there a way to do this and then make sure that only one of them is specifically
Okay, so we saw.
I'm trying to think of a lottery ticket.
So we saw why it works all the time, but it's not good because remember it's only getting up to 5 randomness, and if it was 4 in here, it would have errored out sometimes. Okay, then we basically understand what is the purpose of this entire statement. Remember, each statement ends with a semicolon. That's how you know where the statement ends. For example, this is not a statement. The statement ends all the way over here, where that is. Okay? So now what is this doing?
Word list random one.
What does that do?
That's telling you the first. Well, it picks up the random, which is word list 1,
Right.
which is the first one all the way on the top. I forget the name. Whatever you call that. The value. Not the value. The thing assigned to a string. What's it called?
The array?
The name. No. String is. What is it called again? What is string called again?
All right.
Well, I'm not so sure what the.
Okay, an array. So the word list is what array is the name that is given, basically. Word list 1. That's the name of the array.
Right. Okay.
So all it's doing over there is saying the word list array, and then it puts in the parentheses the random one, which would be take a random one,
Right.
and then put in parentheses whatever that random name is, and that's how we say something else.
So what does this return?
That returns a random of the word list one. The first
So it'll pull out a random item.
random item value.
Okay. Yeah. So that's exactly what this does. So when you put in brackets, if I can put a 1 in there, and it'll always return the second one, right? Because 1 is 2. Right. But that's if you ever want a thing out of a list, you just in the brackets you put which number you want. Over here it's a random number, but we can always put it in there. Okay. Cool.
Zelensky.
Okay, so really, I noticed in this slide we have to all the ones you have, really go through by line and think it over, why it's done that way, and sometimes. So I'm saying all the examples in the book, it's so important to do that because if you and do it in code, not in the book. Write it on a screen and go through it.
Tell me something. I have a question.
Yeah.
Anything that that is giving you in the book, type it, or I can just answer it out.
I mean, in general, the most important thing about programming is actual typing. I know it sounds stupid. Like, to me, this is on your head. That's the best part. It's not true. It's better to type, for example, you see this phrasematic? You know what the best thing you can do is? It's going to be annoying, but it'll give you, the best thing to do is go through this code, understand each line, make sure you understand the line, and then try to do it by memory. Try to write the whole thing by memory until you can get that, where you can type the whole thing by memory without looking at anything else, by memory. In like 2 minutes.
That's why I did a name generator instead.
And you can do it now by memory? Yeah?
Maybe I'll need to like look in the book like once to like be sure, but I think I can do that now.
Okay, so the next time as well, we should do is put comments for each statement that, like, you know, for example, over here, this whole thing is a whole group of statements, right? So we can say over here, you know, quick comment. You know, we're making a whole list of strings and
What everything
right.
does, basically.
Over here, make a comment. What's this purpose of this? Over here, make another comment. What's the purpose of this? Now, there's for two reasons. Number one, it helps explain to yourself, and you're really sure what things are doing. You can say, I know what this is for, I know what this is for, I know what this is for, I know what this is for. And number two, later on, when you look at your code or another programmer looks at your code, they'll know how to deal with your code. You know, when you go to a company, most good programming companies, you'll create code, but guess what happens before the code goes to production? It goes to review, code review, where the CTO takes your code and looks at it.
What is CTO?
Usually, I mean, not always CTO, but the lead programmers,
Oh.
the chief design officer,
I know.
but they'll look at your code, and if there's not good comments, they won't accept it. So comments are so important. Explain what you're doing, why you're doing it, what does this do if it looks weird. Like, for example, this is pretty simple. You just say creating a list, you know, some array of strings. Over here, you can say we're getting this to use the next part, and over here you can explain why you're doing this. Because, you know, not everybody knows that random brings something less than one. You don't really know that unless you actually test it out. You can't memorize all this stuff. Okay? Wow, it's late. It's past
Java.
Okay, I guess we'll stop there. I didn't realize how long it took. But I think we'll start tomorrow. We're done with chapter 1, so tomorrow we're going to start chapter 2.
Y'all know chapter 1. I know a little bit.
What about SQL? Are we gonna do a back to SQL?
So for SQL, bring me your questions.
No, not question. Like you tell me that
We
you
did-
have a big. We didn't.
You want to do that? I can give you the project. I don't know if
I
you
want
want
a
to.
project.
You want it? Okay, you want it. I thought maybe you want to focus on Java now.
Also both.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
No, no good idea.
I mean, it's gonna be Java right now. Where it's gonna be very intense because we're going quick.
Yeah, but I don't want to forget.